Good afternoon. This is the 1 p.m. news from Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. First, the news headlines. Federal government signs agreement with judiciary, parliamentary workers on implementation of financial autonomy. Also in the headlines, state governors, CBN differ on bailout repayment. On the foreign scene, U.S. President hails Gaza ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. And in sports, Colombia will no longer co-host Copa America after widespread protests. Those are the headlines. Now the news in detail. The federal government has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Judicial Staff Union of Nigeria, JUSUN, and the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria, PASSN, in its bid to resolve the strike by the unions. This followed a meeting between the government and the leaders of the unions, presided over by the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, in Abuja, the state capital. It was the latest in the series of meetings to address the issues that led to the ongoing industrial action by the judiciary and parliamentary workers' unions since April 6th. At the end of the meeting, both parties signed an agreement asking state governments to commence the implementation of financial autonomy to the states. They were asked to transfer their statutory allocations, beginning with the April Federation Account Allocation Committee allocation expected to be shared next week. Briefing reporters at the end of the meeting, the minister was hopeful that the workers would call off the strike as soon as their accounts were credited when the April federal allocations were shared. He assured Nigerians, especially those who have pending court cases, that there was a renewed hope that the industrial action would soon be suspended. Meanwhile, the federal government has convened a conciliatory meeting with the Kaduna State government and the Nigeria Labour Congress to resolve the impasse that has grounded labour activities in the state. Mr. Chris Ngige, who is the Minister of Labour and Employment, presided over the meeting while NLC National President Ayuba Waba led other labour leaders to the discussion. Beg your pardon. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Local Government Affairs in Kaduna, Jafaru Sabi, who represented Governor Nasir El-Rufai and the state government, spoke on behalf of the government.
The current government of Kaduna State was elected on a platform of change that recognized the central role of the public service in delivering public goods and promoting public governance.
The NLC insists the action of its members was the last resort after every effort to dialogue with the government failed.
This action was like a matter of last resort because we thought that workers had been thrown out and there was nobody to speak for them.
Governor Ben Ayade of Cross River State has explained that his defection to the All Progressive Congress is due to President Muhammadu Buhari's leadership qualities, saying he wants to help the 78-year-old in dealing with the challenges facing the country. Governor Ayade moved to the APC from the People's Democratic Party on Thursday after months of speculations, but explained, however, that he had no issue with this former party. The Cross River leader also hinted that some governors on the platform of the PDP will soon join the ruling party, denying claims he defected to the APC because he suffered a huge loss at the recent PDP Congress held in his state.
So for those of us who have had direct contact with the president, we see the sincerity of purpose, we see the commitment. Unfortunately, no matter the level of faithful catechism he has, it will materialize to nothing unless the society see that as so. But where politicians take advantage of a collective threat to us all and use it as a political instrument to put down the ruling party, I find that unacceptable. It's disgusting. And that's why I say, look, let me show a classical departure from that. And stand with the president, stand with the ruling party, and help them go through these trying moments. In the process, I'm happy to announce to you very soon, you'll see that more governors are joining.
The House of Representatives has asked the federal government to direct the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission to halt with immediate effect the proposed increase in electricity tariff scheduled to take effect from June 2021. Adopting a motion sponsored by Representative Anieken Umana, the House said Nigerians were already passing through difficult times and therefore more burdens should not be added to them. Presenting the motion before the House, Umana said NERC, working with distribution companies, has increased the electricity tariff 5 times since 2015, the latest being January 1st, 2021. According to him, despite those increases, Nigerians have not enjoyed significant improvement in power generation. Instead, they daily grapple with epileptic services from the electricity distribution companies and unilateral exploitation in the name of estimated billing arising from non-metering of over 50% of consumers.
We're also concerned that the current economic recession made worse the hyperinflation has resulted in skyrocketing prices of foodstuff, while increase in prices of petroleum products has also triggered further increase in transport costs and rents, with unemployment rates frightening at about 33.3%, while the spending power of average Nigerians has drastically reduced. Any further hike in electricity tariff, Mr. Speaker, at this time will amount to an overkill, lack of empathy, and the height of insensitivity. The House therefore resolves to urge the federal government to direct the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission to rescind its decision to further increase electricity tariff proposed for June 2021 in view of the hard times Nigerian masses are currently going through. 2, mandate committees on power, poverty alleviation, labor, employment, and productivity to ensure compliance. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
State governors and the Central Bank of Nigeria were not on the same page yesterday over the repayment plan for bailout loans. The governors, under the auspices of the Nigeria Governors Forum, sought for further deferment of the repayment of the loans taken from the federal government. NGF Chairman and Ekiti State Governor Dr. Kayode Fayemi made the request on behalf of his colleagues as the repayment ought to start this month. But CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele cautioned on the consequences of any further delay. Insisting that the states should begin the repayment, Emefiele stressed that there were challenges arise from delays, particularly as it concerned auditing. The British Deputy High Commissioner in Lagos, Mr. Ben Llewellyn-Jones, has reassured Nigerians that despite conspicuous challenges, the Nigerian-British relationship is still strong, cordial and mutual. He stated this while featuring on Splash FM program Economic Insight today. While speaking on the Nigerian-UK relationship, he stated that the United Kingdom holds Nigeria and her citizens in high esteem, and that is why they have many mutual contacts across sectors such as health, agriculture, sports, female education, and human rights protection. He added that the future of their relationship is bright as the UK authorities want to help Nigeria become more competitive, as Nigeria is presently UK's second largest business partner in sub-Saharan Africa. He, however, recommended community engagement among the people, community groups, faith-based leaders, and traditional chiefs. He stated that he was impressed with the structure and management of West Midland Communications, comprising of Splash and Lagelu FM. Our government across all levels has been advised to support the promotion of the native culture and beliefs as much as they do to the two popular religions in order to preserve our heritage, which is at the edge of extinction. The Araba Olusegun Agbaye, His Eminence Awodotun Aworeni, made this call yesterday during a media briefing organized in preparation for the World Ifa Festival, which marks the beginning of the new year in Yoruba indigenous religion in Ibadan, the capital city of Oyo State. He said it's time the government, particularly those here in Yoruba land, have a deep rethink about the indigenous Yoruba beliefs, especially in Ifa, and how it helped the Yoruba race evolve in the past, adding that if tapped into by following the instruction from Eledumare, would help solve the problems of insecurity and other challenges bedeviling the country. While pleading with elected politicians in the southwest of the country to consider granting public holiday for the celebration of special events like Isheshe Festival, which is also marked in Brazil, Cuba, Spain, and other countries, he charged Yoruba Obas and Nollywood actors to promote and protect the Yoruba indigenous beliefs from going into extinction.
Well, my message to the government on the traditional institution is for government to start supporting us in everything we want to do. Government needs to recognize us just the same way they recognize the Christian religion people and the Islamic religious people. They've not given us any recognition all this while. It's only in Osun State that the past governor there, the engineer Rauf Aregbesola, give us a public holiday. We want public holiday just like they give it to Christian and the Muslim. We want government to come to our aid as well. Just the same way they come to the aid of the Christians and the Muslim. They should help our money they spend on pilgrimage to Mecca. They should also give us just 10% of those money for the growth of our traditional institution.
On the 28th of May, which will run through to the 6th of June. A call has gone out to government and other philanthropists in the state to take youth empowerment serious as a panacea to unemployment and community security. The technical support consultant of the Sustainable Programs Partnership on Reproductive Health Transformation Initiative in Oyo State, Mrs. Adeshola Familokun, stated this yesterday while addressing newsmen during an entrepreneurship graduation program organized by the state government. Familokun admonished that the welfare of the young ones and their financial stability is the collective duty and responsibility of all stakeholders, including parents, community leaders, and government at large, advising government at all levels to do more in empowering the youths in order to ensure a progressive, productive, and egalitarian society.
We know that if you observe in the States, even across the nation at large, globally, young people are getting more inquisitive and young people are going into so many delinquencies such that we have higher rates of unplanned pregnancy, bad behavior among young people. So the initiative, the support initiative thought, why don't we build skills of young people to be able to make positive discussions, to be able to make positive decisions for themselves? And we realize that one of the things that is hindering young people from being able to make positive decisions for themselves is that they lack financial capacity, because money is part of the things they use to entice them. So we discovered that, okay, we can build their soft skill and support it with skills to be able to monetize, such that they have their own skill, they have their own money, and they are able to make decisions. And that is why the program came about.
The program, which was organized by John Hopkins Center for Communication Program in collaboration with the Support Initiative, had 30 graduating students who were nominated by the community leaders of the Ibadan Southwest and Northeast local government areas. You're still listening to the news on Splash 105.5 FM. Now turning to the foreign scene. United States President Joe Biden has applauded a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip and emphasized the U.S. will continue to support Israel militarily. President Biden said in remarks at the White House in Washington, D.C., as Israel and Hamas agreed to a ceasefire proposal by Egypt to take effect early today in Gaza. Earlier in a telephone call with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Thursday, Biden said he commended the Israelis for bringing the immediate conflict to an end after 11 days and assured Netanyahu of continuing U.S. military support. Biden said he had spoken with Egypt President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas as part of an intense diplomatic engagement. The U.S. leader said he thanked the Egyptians for their role in brokering the agreement. Now, thousands of Australian children are walking out of schools to attend protests calling for action on climate change. Up to 50,000 students are expected at school strike for climate rallies across this country. It is the latest grassroots campaign by young people pushing for action on the climate crisis. Australia has long faced criticism for refusing to set more ambitious emissions targets. David Soriano, a 17-year-old attending a Sydney rally, said he was worried about the future and wants the government to see the youth movement as one to be reckoned with. The protesters are also calling for no new coal, oil and gas projects in Australia, including the controversial Adani mine. Finally, in sports, Colombia will no longer co-host the 2021 Copa America after a series of protests in the country. The tournament was set to be held between Colombia and Argentina for the first time in its 105-year history. There have been widespread protests against the government in Colombia, with demonstrators disrupting some Copa Libertadores matches. The final of the 10-team tournament, which runs from 13th June to 10th July, was due to be held in Barranquilla. The South American Football Confederation took the games off Colombia after previously rejecting a proposal to move them to November, saying it was impossible. Argentina has offered to host the entire tournament, and protests have been ongoing in Colombia since April after the government tried to implement a controversial tax plan. All right, just before we go, a recap of the headlines. Federal government has signed agreement with judiciary parliamentary workers on implementation of financial autonomy. The state governors, CBN, have deferred on bailout repayment. U.S. president has hailed Gaza ceasefire agreement between Israel, Hamas. Colombia will no longer co-host Copa America after widespread protests. For more details on the news, visit our website on www.splashfm1055.com. Now, you can download the Splash FM mobile app on iOS, BlackBerry World, and Google Play Store to listen live, get news update, opinion poll, and also report an event live to us through the iPod feature. To download, simply go to any of the stores mentioned and search for Splash FM 105.5, then click to download. We have now come to the end of the news on Splash 105.5 FM, the integrity station and the best radio station in the southwest of the country. The news editor is Tunde Olawuwo, assisted by Chinwe Churchill. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.
Quick, charge at 240.
Hot news, cool vibes, sports, and more on the Integrity Station. We educate, that's why we are respected. We inform, that's why we are loved. More music, we are the best. The Integrity Station. Splash, splash, splash.
105.5.
Iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná a máa fúnni ní